right, so hey, hey YouTube. Awkward saying that. It's your girl KP Kings here. Let's see. I haven't been on YouTube in forever. Just because like I don't really have like a motive, for like I have to have a reason to do YouTube videos. Like, and if I don't have a reason, then why am I doing it? But anyway, I haven't been on YouTube basically for probably years, to be honest with you. And a lot has gone on, a lot has changed, a lot has updated. And mainly what I wanted to get on and talk about though is, if you guys have not noticed, your girl is locked, okay? So that's been going on for the past year, right? I decided to lock my hair, and yeah, so that's basically where it's been at for the past, I know it's looking a little suspect right now, but I'll explain that in a moment. So, bobby pins, all kind of things. So, I decided basically that, anyway, I had been natural for like 3 years, and I decided at that point I was getting kind of bored with my hair. I didn't know what to do with it. I was like, I feel like I've tried everything there is to try, and I was so over it. Like, I was so bored with my hair. Like, I didn't know what else to do. So the only thing that I hadn't done was try locks. So I was like, I'm going to lock my hair. It's going to be gorgeous. You know what I mean? Everyone that I've known that had locks had really long hair. So I was like, oh, that might be a cool way to grow out my hair, to get it really long or whatever. Not to say that it probably wouldn't grow naturally. Of course it would. But I just felt like maybe there's something about that technique itself that makes people's hair grow maybe faster. Again, it was just something I was like, let's try it, right? So, I knew that I was not going to be able to change my hairstyle a lot, even though I was somebody who liked to change my hairstyle quite often. But I was accepting of that, because I felt like all the styles that I normally would be doing anyway, like I was bored of them. I was tired of doing them. So I was just like, you know what, it's not that big a deal. I did more research. I started looking into, lock styling and things like that, that there are other ways that you can wear your locks. You don't have to just wear them straight and down, that you can curl them, you can braid them, you can twist them. Like, there's a lot of different things you can do with your locks as far as styling. So once I researched that, I was like, okay, so the styling options are out there. They're out there. So I was like, cool. And then another thing I noticed, that if you don't like, to do a whole lot of styles, there's color. There's people who color their locks, and that's very pretty too. So I was like, okay, the options are out there. You got color, you got styles like curls or braids or twists, And then also, I was concerned about, how when you lock your hair, it's permanent. Like, your hair is going to be locked. Like, that's it. And most people would cut their hair off in order to get rid of the locks. You know what I mean? But nowadays, there is also the option of combing them out. You know what I mean? Meaning you don't have to chop your hair off, like, from here and then grow it out. Like, you can actually, like, start from the bottom of your lock and uncomb out your hair from the lock. And then when you're done, it'll be all out again. So you have the combing out method, and then you have the cutting it off method. So for me, the cutting it off was a little bit of a concern. I was like, okay, so that means if I get these locks and I decide I don't want them anymore, I'm going to have to cut my hair off. And I was like, okay, are you ready for that though? Are you ready for that? So I eventually came to terms with the whole situation, because ultimately I've always been somebody who wanted to do like natural style, like do a cute, like, short natural style. You know what I mean? Like short. Like, but granted, I transitioned from a perm to natural, so I never really saw my hair dumb short. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I mean, the shortest my hair was at one point was probably 3 to 4 inches of hair. Like, I've always had at least 3 to 4 inches of hair on my head. Like, I don't think I've never seen my hair shorter than like 2 inches, for instance. I have been having less than 2 inches of hair on my head. Like, that would be a dramatic change for me. I've never seen my hair that short, ever. So, I mean, when I was relaxed one time, I cut my hair short, and that was the first time I really cut my hair. And that was a big deal for me. Like, I don't know why I decided to go crazy and cut my hair. I could have just got a weave that same style, but like I didn't know anything about weaves at that time. So I don't know. I just thought I should cut my hair into that style. That's cute. Which it was cute at first, you know what I mean? And my hair eventually did grow out of the cut. So it was like, okay, whatever. But it didn't, you know what I mean? It was relaxed hair. So it's not like it was growing like, no, it did its basic what it could do, you know what I'm saying? Given my situation with my hair back in the day. So anyway, like I said, I did lots and lots of research, and I was like, okay, I was ready to commit to the locks. So I was like, okay, let's do it, right? So I did it. I did my research. I found a salon that I thought would be a cool place to get it done. I did that. However, I wasn't a fan of that experience for whatever reason. So I knew that when it came time to do my retwist, I was not going to go back to that same place because I just didn't like the experience I had starting my locks. Like for me, that was a big thing. It's not like, oh, I'm just starting the locks. You know what I mean? No, this is deep for me. Okay? Like this is deep. So so I was like, no, I'm not going to just go anywhere. And I didn't just go anywhere, but I still feel like I ended up in a situation where my stylist, loctician, whoever, you know, really didn't give a darn about my hair. They didn't give a crap whether I knew how to take care of it. They didn't know. They didn't care. They just wanted my money, and they wanted me to come back to them to give them more money to do the retwist. Like that's how I felt. Like I did not feel like she cared about this is a spiritual process for me. Like I'm really connected to my hair. You know what I mean? It's important to me. So when I made a decision to lock it, that's not a, you know, that's not a game. That's nothing to play with. And I didn't feel like that woman took me seriously at all. Like, or not as serious as I wanted to be taken. You know what I mean? So I was like, you know what? I'm not going back there. And I researched and I found someone else who I felt was like very knowledgeable and was going to really, you know, fill me in on the details of what I need to know to make this lock journey successful. And I don't mind supporting her. You know, that's Najeti Harvey. You know, she's over in Bloomfield. She has a natural hair salon. She's been doing hair for like, what, over 25 years, almost 30 years, whatever. She's been doing natural hair for that long, like since she was a baby, basically. So she slays the game. Don't get me wrong. Like her prices, when people like, you know, go to her style seat. Again, her name is Najeti. That's Nedjetti, I believe. She's a celebrity natural hairstylist. Like she's worked on movies, she's worked on TV, you know, all of that. So like she has the credentials, honey. It's there. So you go on her style seat, you check her out. You know, you're not going to be disappointed from anything you get from her. That much I can almost guarantee you. Like whether you're going for, you know, your natural hair care, whether you're going for trims, whether you're going for locks, whether you're going for color, I don't care what you're going there for. She is going to make you feel like a queen, like you're supposed to feel, basically. So anyway, I went to her for my retwist, found out that the person who started my locks actually made the parts very large. So I was going to have, not large locks, but I was going to have pretty thick locks. And that was not really the look I was going for initially. That was not the look I was going for. So because she told me that, she looked at the size of the part. She looked at, you know, what I had going on currently, and was telling me, well, what size locks did you want? Because the size that you were given or the foundation that was started for you is going to lead you to this particular size or around this size or this size. And I'm thinking that's way larger than what I expected. And I told her medium, not big and not skinny little sister locks either. I want medium sized locks. And I even showed her a picture of generally what the size should look like once they mature. You know what I mean? So, but that person just paid me no mind and did what she wanted to do in my hair, basically. But you know what? Anyway, that's for a whole nother video. So, but let me wrap this up. So, basically, I basically restarted my foundation with Najeti because I was just convinced that she was going to do a better job. I'm sorry. So, even though I had comb coils to start out with, Najeti started my hair with 2-strand twists. Which I was a little like, ooh, I don't know if that's gonna look like locks, you know what I'm saying? But it took a little while. It took a little minute. but they did eventually start to look like locks and stop looking like two-strand twists. You know what I mean? So I had to go through that first couple of months or 2 months with my hair looking like twists, which I was like, I was okay with it, because from the moment I left her salon, basically it was agreed upon, both of us. We was like, these are my locks, bitch. I don't care what you say. Like, they might look like twists to you, but you're going to call them locks. And that's basically, I was affirming it from that day. Like, these are my locks, and I'm going to start treating them as locks from this moment, whether they look like twists or not. The point is, I know what they represent to me, and that's what I'm going to treat them as. So I did have to go through an awkward stage where people kept asking me, is your hair twisted, or is your hair are you getting dreadlocks, or is your hair twisted? Like, they couldn't really tell. And I had to keep telling people, I'm getting dreads, I'm just starting them off with twists. That's all, but I'm getting dreads. You know what I mean? I had to explain that several times in the beginning, which was a little annoying, but overall, I knew what they were. I started calling them locks from the very beginning. And so, again, like for the first month, the first 2 months, my hair did not look like a lock at all. It just basically looked like twists. It wasn't probably until I would say about 3 months, maybe 4 to 5 months into the process, where my hair started to actually appear like locks. Not only because the retwist started to come down lower and lower, so you would see half a lock, or you see like a beginning of a lock, and then you'll see some buds in between my two-strand twists. So you will see buds in between my two-strand twists. So, my hair started budding, like after 2-3 months, my hair started budding. So it was already like getting stuck like that, which was cool. And, yeah, so I guess around the fourth, you could say around 3-4 months is when they really started to look more like locks to me and less like twists. Like the frizziness and everything from the twist started to kind of compact into the hair. The hair again started budding, so it started to get these little fat bulbs in it, that they call buds. At the beginning of the locking process started to happen, so I started to see those throughout the little twists and all of that. So, yeah, so I was happy with the process. Like, I was basically watching my hair transform from twists to locks, and it was an amazing process. Like, I didn't even believe, I believed it was gonna happen, but I had to see it, because most people that I saw start locks, they started them with comb coils. You don't usually see a two-strand twist turn into a lock. Like, for me, that was an unusual experience, but I was there for it. I was curious about it. I wanted to see it. So I actually eventually saw that my hair started to look more like locks. Like the twist dimension of it was fading away and becoming locks, basically. So I say all that to say that I mainly got on here to say that, you guys, I've kept my locks in for a year and about 5 months. I didn't quite make it to a year and a half. And why I say I didn't quite make it to a year and a half is because I've actually started the process of combing them out. So that was an interesting decision I had to make as well. I was like, okay, do you really want to give up on this after sorry, I got distracted. Do you really want to give up on this after a year and a half of, trying to get these locks? And I'm like, okay, I got them now though. You know what I mean? They're pretty much, as far as I'm concerned, my locks are not matured. You know what I mean? Because they could definitely be more mature. But I feel like they're right on the edge of being mature. You know what I mean? Like, it's not too much more changing that my hair is going to do at this point. It's only going to get longer. And that's what I've noticed. Like, there's not too many more changes going on throughout my hair. It's just the budding is done. Like, it's done all the budding it's going to do, for now. And it's just growing at this point. It's just roots growing out, retwist, roots growing out, retwist, So it's like, I don't feel like it's going to do that much more changing. Now, most people say as your hair gets longer, it also gets thinner. Your dreadlocks, as they get longer, they actually get thinner than they originally were, which I was, expecting. Now, I'm not at the stage where the thinning starts. It starts much, much later. You know what I mean? So I didn't even get to that phase of it. My hair is originally the state that it was when it was locked. It has not thinned out at all. But it has gotten longer. So basically, I got to a stage where my hair is getting longer, but it's not changing physically so much anymore. It's just getting longer, and I was okay with it for a while, you know. Um, but I just got to a point, basically, like it's the same place I got to in my natural hair journey after 3 years of whatever with my hair. I was just like, okay, I'm over it. And this is how I feel about my locks now. It's not that I don't like them. I love how they turned out. I think they were started very well. Um, I think she did an amazing job starting my locks. They turned out really good. I love them. Um, they're very unique to me. You know, I could definitely say that my locks don't look like anybody else's locks. Which is one thing that, you know, she was telling me is that one thing that you learn is that with locks is like you can't expect your locks necessarily to look like anybody else's because your hair don't look like nobody else's. I don't care what you say. You can have a hair twin, somebody whose hair looks very similar to yours, but I doubt your hair will look like anybody else's. Like there's a uniqueness. It's almost like a fingerprint. You know what I mean? And that's how I look at my hair. Like even when it was out loose natural, it was unique. You know what I mean? Like it was things about my hair that other people's hair did not do. Be it good or bad. You know what I mean? But the point is it was something that my hair did. You know what I mean? So for me, it was unique to me. And like I said, be it a good thing or a bad thing, it was kind of cool to just have that particular feature that only my hair has, or like that, you know, that makes my hair stand out from other people's hair. Same thing with the locks. You know what I mean? As my hair became more mature, became to look like locks, I noticed that my locks don't look like anybody else's locks. Like the people around me's locks, they don't look like theirs. They don't look like anybody else's locks that I've seen before. And I'm okay with that. You know what I mean? Because they look unique to me. They look like my lock. Like they look like they belong to me, no one else. And I'm okay with that. You know, all my locks look different. You know, you have some people's locks who are very, very, you know, uniform. You know, they look the same throughout the entire head. My locks don't look like that. And I know why my locks don't look like that, because I remember where they started and I remember where they got to. So I know why my locks look the way they look. And some people might think, oh, well, it doesn't look, why does it look so fat here and lumpy here? But I don't really usually mind that, because that's what's making my lock unique. This is what's making my lock different from your lock. You know what I mean? So the locks in the front of my hair are clearly different than the ones in the back of my head. And that has to do with my curl pattern. Okay, so because, again, I had multiple curl patterns in my head when I was a loose natural. So when I became locked, it didn't change. That's the funny thing. It didn't change. The curl pattern is the same. So my locks formed according to my curl pattern. So like my locks up here are much, much crazier. Like I don't know how to explain crazy, but like they're just all over the place. The locks in the front are definitely wild. Let me just tell you that. And the reason being is because I have looser hair up here. So it's harder for me to control what's going on at the top, because my hair is much, much looser up here. So as you can see, even when I get a retwist, all this hair that's out, it's because it's very loose. So it's very hard for my hair to lock at the top. It's very hard for my hair to kind of tangle at the top, you know, like the way a lock would. In the back, however, I don't know if you can see, these locks are very compact, very tight, because that's how the curl pattern was in the back. Very compact, very tight, very almost thin. Look how straight that is, you know what I'm saying? But then when you look at the locks in the front, it's kind of wavy, it's kind of thick, it's kind of everywhere, right? I don't have a problem with that. Like I said, I like my locks. I'm just saying it is amazing to me that how my hair started is how it ended still. You know what I'm saying? Like there's certain things about my hair that did not change regardless of whether it was locked, regardless of whether it was out, it stayed the same. And was really interesting, actually, really cool. So I love that. The fact that, you know, at first I was a little peeved by that idea that all my locks would not look the same. But then I realized it's common sense that your locks are not going to look the same because you have different curl patterns in your hair. So how do you expect your locks to all form exactly the same when your curls don't even hang exactly the same? You know what I mean? So it just, you know, it later made sense. Like, it's making sense to me now, but initially when I first, you know, was looking at it, I was like, what? But I grew to love it basically because it made my hair unique. So I was like, cool, I'm cool with it. All right, so we're running on 20 minutes. I'm gonna do a part 2, which is going to include some of the positives of having locks, some of the not so great things about having locks, and go over a little bit more about why I decided to go back to being a loose natural. So stay tuned.